Hi. Hello, everyone. So, I am going to add some, and yeah, so we are going to know from her. Hi, Sarah.
Hi,
Hello.
Shaun. How are you guys?
we're good. How are
Good,
you?
thanks.
Very well.
That's good. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
It's been a
Hello,
while.
Shane.
Are you guys in Malta?
Yes,
In
we are.
Malta.
Hmm. So, how are things there? How is COVID situation?
Mm. We're doing well, but recently we're
It's
not so
getting
good again.
like in the first few months, Malta was one of the best in Europe. Like very few cases, everywhere was still open, like no clubs and everything, but restaurants and going out. But now they started closing a bit as well
Oh,
because we had a lot of cases recently.
like even now you have a lot of cases there.
I think it's even more than March, April.
Because in the last like 1 month ago, everything was open, airports and everything normal. So people were going to clubs and parties, and now now we're in trouble again.
How is it
Oh,
in
everything
India?
shut. Mhm.
Is it there?
All right. So, guys, that is what made you sit at home because of COVID. You can't actually
Unfortunately,
travel somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can travel because the airports are open, but
there's a lot of restrictions as well. So, like, if you go on holiday and you come back, you need to stay for 2 weeks in quarantine. So it's not really ideal at the moment.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, all right. So you have backpacked to India and to Asia, in other countries in Asia as well, and
yes.
which is what we are here to talk about. And I am surprised how you guys did it, and so well you did it. And like a true traveler, you've been to so many places and met so many people along your journey. I'm sure you might have learned so much
Yeah.
along the journey and visiting new places and new people and how you managed it. Like what made you, think that, you should go to Asia? What was that triggering point that made you think that, we should be going to Asia for 15 months? Was it a planned trip or you stretched it for 15 months? How it
Well,
all started?
Good question.
yeah, I mean, we knew we were going to travel for a long time. We thought maybe a year until the money we had saved would last, but we didn't imagine it would be 15 months.
Mhm.
And we didn't plan to travel on such a low budget as soon as we left. But then, like, as we started,
Yeah.
as we started the trip, we thought, okay, if we try to save as much money as we can and travel on a budget as much as we can, we'll make it last longer. So we got obsessed about that.
And back to your question, why we chose Asia? It was either Asia or South America for us, so we couldn't decide. But we had a lot of friends from India, so some of them were in Malta. They were studying here, and everyone was like, "You need to come visit us. You need to come." So we said, "Okay, we're going to India for sure. Then we'll see." And like
Yeah.
then you're in Asia, so okay, India. What's nearby? Where should we go? And that's how it ended up being Asia, kind of. So it was thanks to our Indian friends.
All good. So, I mean, you already had friends in India, and that's what made you come here and travel to places. So, what all places have you been in India, and what you liked about India?
In total, we spent 5 months, so we traveled a little bit
Quite a lot, because
around the
we
country.
first we spent 3 months and then we came back for another two.
Mm-hmm.
We visited quite a lot of places. Yeah, we started from the south, so Chennai, Bangalore, and some smaller villages nearby. Whereas the
Kerala.
Kerala, of course.
Kerala? Oh,
We started going up to the west coast, so Kerala,
Mumbai.
Goa, Mumbai, Delhi, all the way up to Shimla. So that's That
Wow.
was very beautiful. And then second time we went towards Kolkata, more in Rajasthan area, and
Yeah.
of course visiting friends again. So going from side to side and smaller villages and cities, Trichy, for example, Kodaikanal, where else? So many to mention.
Ahmedabad, I
Yeah.
think.
That was it.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Kerala and Kodaikanal beaches are really different and like more beautiful there.
Yes, definitely. Like we really enjoyed the city life in India because it's like very cultural and it's very different to what we're used to. But then we really love nature, so places like Kodaikanal are really wow.
Hmm. And what about the hills like Shimla? And did you do hiking or trekking there?
We did quite a lot. Like every day, we used to find some nice walk and go for a whole day of walking, and it was really good because the weather was much colder. So for us, it's perfect. For example, in Varanasi, it was over 40 degrees, so we couldn't even walk. So when you go to Shimla or Kotai, it's like, wow, perfect. This is a bit cold, nice for walking.
So how is temperature in Malta usually? Is it cold most of the time?
We don't get we don't have a lot of low temperatures here. So winter is like 10 degrees,
Oh,
very really 4 or 5.
But at the moment, it's summer and it's very hot, so it's like 35 degrees, sometimes even 40 at this time.
I'm sure people who have joined us might not know about Malta because it is one of the countries which people does not know much about. I mean, I even have mentioned that, like when you told me, it was like it's underneath Italy. I knew it because I've been to Italy and I have heard about it, but a lot of people haven't. So would you like to tell people about Malta and what all is there to visit? I'm sure it's very beautiful and there are beautiful beaches and places to visit in Malta. So, would you like to tell people a little bit about your country?
Yeah, sure. So basically, Malta is not part of Italy. It's something that many people got confused when we were traveling. We usually explain that it's next to Italy, so people just assumed it's Italy, but actually it's not. It's an independent country just below Sicily. Yeah, our population is around 500,000 people right
So half
now.
a million only,
Wow.
a bit less actually. So yeah,
Yeah.
very small, and you can drive from one side to the other, like across the whole country in 1 hour, 1 hour by car. So
In 1 hour. Wow.
so it's
That's
very
crazy.
And definitely not like India. We spent 40 hours on trains there. We'd be on another continent if had to do that over here.
and
And
yeah,
India is
it's
huge. I
very
mean, you need time to travel across
no.
places in India.
India's huge, but so Malta is really famous for beaches, of course, because it's an island. So 20 minutes drive maximum, you can get to a beach, like from any place you are. In fact, we're going to the beach right after, right after the call, and it's also very good with people like who love history, because we have some temples that are older than the pyramids, so they're like super old from prehistoric age. So for history lovers and for beaches, it's really good. And then also the nightlife, like every day there's some bar, some club you can go, especially in summer. We have open air
Maybe
parties and
not now
everything,
during.
but not now, no.
Right. So people for beach lovers, Malta is a paradise. I mean,
Definitely.
people should definitely visit Malta once
Yeah,
all of this is over, of course. And we hope that like COVID situation will soon get into
we get
normal
better.
and we could travel again.
Exactly.
So coming back to the journey of Asia and your backpacking trip to Asia, um, going down the memory lane. So, have you planned it, or was it like you had a rough idea that this is what you will be doing, these places you will be visiting, and you just went with the flow? Or you had a planned itinerary that that's how we are going to do it, because you were in a budget trip and you literally did it so well, like 10 euros a day for a couple in Asia. That's surprising, and you literally made a record kind of thing. So yeah, how did
Yeah.
you do it?
Now, actually, we knew we were starting from India. Like first we stopped in Romania and Dubai, which is where we met you. Um, and then we knew we were going to spend some time in India, and we had actually booked an outbound flights to Thailand after that because of visas and everything, and we also didn't end up going to Thailand. So the plan really changed, and we didn't have a fixed plan of places to visit. We just every time we had to change country, we saw what the options were to like exit from where we were, and we just booked a flight from there.
Then it just happens kind of. So you meet someone and they tell you, oh, this country is really good. You should really visit this island in Malaysia or in Myanmar. So that's how the plan works usually. You just have nothing planned. You start talking to people and they tell you, hey, you should go there. You come visit my country. It's very close to here, just for our flight. Yeah, sure. And we end up
Like when
visiting
we met in
England.
Dubai, I told you guys to come to India, and then you were like, yeah, we have a plan to visit India.
Exactly. I think if you have a fixed plan, it really restricts you because, as we said, if you meet someone and they want you to come over, you wouldn't be able to. So like that, we were really flexible to change plans whenever we wanted, kind of.
That's good. Like you were not having a fixed itinerary, even then you managed it so well. So what all places in Asia, what all countries in Asia, I would ask, have you been to? Like India, Thailand? Uh,
Actually, we didn't go to Thailand. We missed
oh, you
it.
didn't
Because
go to
we change the
Thailand.
plan.
But we did the surrounding countries to India, like Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. We did Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and
Wow.
Singapore.
Then we kept going
Wow.
further, kind of. So Taiwan, Hong Kong, and near.
Wow.
Coming
That's
back, we stopped in Oman and Iran as well.
wow. You literally covered quite a lot of places. Even I have not been like living in India. It's like easier for me to travel to places. I mean, all these countries, but even I have not been to a lot of places. Like Vietnam and Cambodia are still in my list. And so, how many days you have spent in like each country? Was it different for each country, or it was like when you visited a place and then you decided that whether we liked it or not, and then this much time we will be spending here and then we'll be moving to another country? Was it like that?
So most countries we used to spend 1 month just because the visa is usually for 1 month. So if you want to extend
Okay.
it, then it's a lot of paperwork and we don't really enjoy it. But for countries that we could stay longer, so for example, India, we had a 6 month visa, so it wasn't a problem to stay long. And then, as you said, for example, Taiwan, we didn't need a visa, so we said, okay, we'll go there, we'll see if we like it, and maybe we'll go somewhere else after a month. But we ended up enjoying it, so we spent almost 2 months there. So it's just
Yeah, also
kind
with
of
Malaysia, I think
yeah,
Malaysia is a good place for connection. So we kept going and coming. So we spent a total of 5 or 6 weeks there as
yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So not
So
we
did
just
you
stay
apply
1 month.
for visa for every single country, or like Europe, there is a Schengen visa, so
Yeah.
like it's easy to, visit to all of the countries and just one visa do that. So when you came here, do you have to apply for visa for every single country that you visited? Because you visited, I think, 10, 12, or some 15 countries
Something like
probably.
that.
Yeah.
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 So,
So yeah, for Asia it's a bit more complicated. So there's no Schengen visa type of visa. So you need to apply for each country. But we're lucky because our passport is quite good. So some places we don't need visa. Some places we can just get it on arrival. So you just pay at the airport and you're good. But yeah, sometimes we needed to go to the embassy and fill all the papers and everything, which is a bit inconvenient because then you have to wait like 1 week and yeah, now what do we do? We just wait here. We cannot go anywhere, kind of without a passport. So
Actually, we wanted to go into China, but we couldn't get a visa for that.
oh,
Mainly because while we were traveling, we were not employed, so they didn't want to let us in.
like you need to have proof that you have a job and everything, and we didn't have.
I'm sure next time you will make it to China because every country have a different visa condition. And Yeah, we can't help it. So, which is your finest of the memory that you would like to live again, uh,
Mm,
like on your whole backpacking trip?
it's difficult. I think
I'm sure you have
every
so many of them.
every different place was special for something particular, kind of. Um, but we really enjoyed Iran because it's a really unique country. There's a lot to see. The people are really nice. We hitchhiked for the whole month there, so it was like a really exciting adventure. So yeah, probably Iran is one.
Iran is one of the favorites. Then Nepal is also on top, kind of, because in Malta, fun fact, we don't have any mountains, any
Forest.
rivers, forest or anything. So when we were in Nepal and you see all those mountains, for us it's like, wow, this is amazing. So Nepal was also one of the really good places.
Hmm. So you
Then of
did a
course
lot of
India.
trekking and hiking
Yeah,
in Nepal too.
yeah, we did the Annapurna circuit on the Annapurna mountain, which
Hmm.
is one of the highest in the Himalayas as well. So that was really special.
Wow, wow. I'm sure it might have taken a lot of hours for you guys to reach there
Yeah, it
because
was
it's really
six
on the
days,
top
I
and
think.
6 days of walking.
oh, wow. So you kind of literally visited all the places from plains to mountains to beaches to everything you have explored on your this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you do? I mean, what all accommodation places you chose, and how did you know this is good for you? Did you planned it uh, before you were going to a place, or then when you visited a place, then you were looking for an accommodation? And like, how did you plan your accommodation? How did you travel throughout? Like, was it trains? Was it flights? Or um,
So with regards to accommodation, it was not always the same, but we really use Couchsurfing, which is a platform for people to like host each other, exchange hosting kind of. And we really use that, and it's really great to meet locals and spend time with them. Maybe they're going to work or maybe they're cooking for you. So it's a really good way to get to see a culture and ways of living, kind of.
Then
And
normally we would just walk around, like when we have nowhere to stay, we would just walk around asking like, is there a cheap place? And sometimes we spent 2 3 hours like walking around with the backpack and asking for a good priced accommodation. So it wasn't always easy. Like everyone sees the nice part of it, but sometimes it was quite tough, like walking for hours in the sun and we cannot find a good place for us. But one way or another, people are always nice and there's always someone to help.
And sometimes also we met people along the way who told us, hey, come stay with us or with our friends and family. And we were really open to that and we always accepted these kind of invitations.
So were you not scared? Because I mean, when you go to a place, that's a general human tendency that we will not trust people at first place. So how did you manage to understand that, this person is fine, this person looks okay, we should like, how did you decide in that way?
I
Hmm.
think we trusted our instinct kind of.
Mhm.
So we used to meet people and spend some time talking to them. And we were open to, to what.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is a bit of risk, but what's the likelihood? Usually, I'm the person asking. We are the people asking them to stay, like in their house, kind of. So apart from them offering, usually we're the ones asking. So you need to be really unlucky to ask the wrong person who wants to kill you or something. So
No,
That's
and
true.
we never had any negative experiences. Everybody was really nice to us. So we can confirm that most people in the world are really friendly and not harmful.
Wow, that's amazing because most of the people when they travel, especially if it is a girl, like you were a couple, so still it's good that you're two people, but then especially if somebody is traveling solo, they have a lot of thoughts in mind and they're scared. At times I've seen solo girls who are traveling that they're a little bit scared that I don't know how people will be there or what other people I might be coming across. But since you had such a positive like from people, and you kind of had the positive experience and never came across anything that might stop you from, or any experience that is not so good that might stop you from not traveling further, which is a good thing. And I think a lot of people who are watching might be inspired to travel.
I hope
So,
so.
anything you would like to share about your journey? And was it your first time backpacking for such long duration, or you have done it before?
Yes, yes, it was our first time actually. So in Europe, we used to go for short holidays, like in holidays, summer, Christmas, etc. But usually for 1 or 2 weeks maximum. And for me, so I had been once, I think, in Africa. But for me, I didn't even leave Europe before. So it was like completely first time, and we didn't have so much experience or anyone to help us. So it was like figuring it out on the way, and it worked quite well. So don't worry if it's your first time as well, to anyone watching us.
Wow. So Sarah actually made you come along with her, and she's like, "Come on, we can do it. We will be traveling
It
like
was mutual.
backpackers."
We knew that when we finished our studies, we wanted to travel out of Europe more, and when we couldn't decide for how long, so we said we'll just leave everything and see how it goes. And that's how the plan started.
Hmm. So, what was the takeaway? What did you learn while you travel? Because travel is a true teacher, and we learn, we study academics, we learn we work, we learn so many subjects while in school, while in college. But when we travel, we learn a lot about life, a lot about people. So we get true life lessons while traveling. So, what was your takeaway while your journey? I'm sure you might have learned a lot going
Yeah.
to places, meeting so many people. So, what was your takeaway?
Definitely. I think there's a lot to learn from something like this. The main thing for us, since we were traveling on a budget, it was definitely being out of our comfort zone all the time. We're used to certain luxuries at home, which we didn't have when we were traveling. And apart from that, the fact that we were spending a lot of time with people, so hitchhiking and doing couch surfing, sometimes you want to be alone or you're feeling sick or something, but if you're with people, you cannot say, okay, I don't want to talk to them. So you really learn how to
Adapt, I would say.
adapt. Yeah, that's the thing.
And for me, I would say cultures and everything about wherever we went. So, for example, religion, languages, most of the things we learned, I had never even heard about the religion or the language. And then you start talking to people and understand things that they do every day, and it's like, wow, this is amazing.
And also the value of money sometimes. I mean, you see €1 and you say, oh, it's nothing. But we know that €1 away from home is really worth a lot of stuff. So,
I mean, usually.
yeah, so you get to understand better the value of money and I don't know, a lot of a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right. So you mentioned that you learn culture and languages, which is wonderful to know different culture and different languages. So did you learn any little bit of like when we go to a place and there's a different language, then we ask people, how do you say hi? How do you say how are you in different language? Do you remember any of that in any
Mm,
of the languages?
Sounds good. Sounds better usually.
yeah. We used to learn some of these basic greetings and also numbers, like from 1 to 10, to help us when we're buying stuff and also to ask how much something costs.
Remember in
But
India?
honestly, there were so many places that I forgot. I think from Canada we learned some numbers. and to say how are you, Channa Giddira. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but in
What
India,
was it in Canada?
in Kannada, the
I don't know
in
Kannada.
Bangalore.
In
But
Bangalore,
in
in
India,
Bangalore.
there's so many languages that you probably also wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Okay, so you learned Kannada. Wow. That's
Just a bit, just a
lovely.
bit.
And you didn't learn Hindi. Nobody told you how to speak in Hindi. Like,
We knew some words, but we keep forgetting now. Remind us, remind us. How do you say, hello, how are you?
hmm that's perfect. So, so what was the thing that you learned about culture and what you find is different from your culture in your country? I mean, how do you find it different? And what you liked about it, what you disliked about it?
Um, we learned a lot of things because even when it comes to food, when it comes to the fact that religions are different from ours, some um, some daily things are done differently. Um, Mainly, what we used to do, we were open to telling people about how we live. So, um, in some places it's not usual. We are not married, and in some places it's not. Some people
Not
won't
accepted, kind of.
exactly won't travel together and or live together if they are not married. And in the
Okay.
beginning, we were a bit kind of keeping back from speaking openly that we're still not married. But then we said that it's good that other cultures get to know what's happening on the other side of the world. So we were open about it. We had discussions with people, like they tell us how it is for their country, and we tell them how it is for ours. And it was
No,
always
no, it was
a
always
good
good.
discussion.
hmm And what about the food? I'm
We
Uh,
sure you might have tried a lot of different kind of foods while in India
we
and of
did.
course other countries also.
We
I
did.
miss that Indian food so much.
Actually,
Do you find it spicy?
before we came to India, we thought it was going to be really, really spicy. So we were eating a lot of spicy food and getting ourselves ready. And then when we got to India, it was actually less
It
than
was
we were
okay.
preparing ourselves. So it was really okay.
You didn't find it spicy?
It
Wow.
is,
It is,
it
but
is, but
we were okay with it.
Because usually, I mean, you guys are into Italian food, right? If I'm not wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, similar to
So
Italian
Italian
food.
food isn't that spicy. It's for us it is bland. So yeah, so because Indians are into spicy food and we love spices. So yeah, of course, like when people come there here and they try out street food, which is very popular, is more of spicy things. I mean, so yeah, that's good that you loved it. Anything you remember? Any food you would you miss or you would like to have again when you come here?
Those every morning.
And I really like the bhaji puri, the ones with water inside.
Oh, okay, pani puri.
Mandipuri.
Yeah, I really like
And
those.
then those are
Wow,
what is the
Um,
breakfast things are all really nice.
I think
those are
In South India, the breakfast was really, really good. Those are idli.
Idli, idli, yes.
wow. You loved idli and dosa. That's not very spicy, although.
No, no.
No, it's okay.
But those pani puris are spicy because the water
Yeah,
of pani.
I really love them.
You love them.
I do.
Wow. That's great. So, are you planning to travel again to any of the places once all of this is over?
Well, we want to get back traveling as soon as we can. So hopefully the world will be in a better situation to do that. But yeah, there are some places where we have so many friends and so many places we really enjoyed that we would really like to visit. For example, north of India, we didn't get to explore it much, so we really want to travel there again, to go maybe to Kashmir. And then places like Iran, we really enjoyed it, so we definitely want to go back there.
Sure. And then you have a 6 months visa, so you have ample time to be to places. But still, you covered a lot. You've been from South India to the north of India. You covered Kerala, then Kodaikanal, Bangalore, and Chennai, and a lot of places in between. You've been to Goa as well?
Yeah.
Well,
You covered Goa, you've been to Delhi, you have been to one of the seven wonders of the world, Taj Mahal. It was a
Exactly.
short trip, but you covered that as well. You've been to the hills, to Shimla, and that's amazing. You covered quite a lot of places. So how much duration were you in India?
5 months
in
in
total,
total.
5 months.
Wow. And it was like you came here and then you visited to some other country and then you came back again.
Exactly. We spent 3.5 months first and then came back 1 year after for another 1.5 months.
Wow. So you travel to places with trains, local trains?
In India, yes.
Usually just trains and buses in India, yeah. So that's why the 40-hour train or the 25-hour bus.
So you guys come from a country which is not so populated and which is like literally such a small country. So not so populated, have very less people. So you're used to that kind of culture. And then you traveled in India, that too in the local trains. When you told me that you're traveling in local trains and local buses, I was surprised because I myself don't do it. It's very crowded. So how was the experience? I mean, in trains, it's super crowded, especially the coaches that you have traveled in the sleeper
Yeah,
coaches
yeah.
and the buses, the very local and basic buses, which are super crowded. So how was the experience, guys?
I loved it. I loved it. It's uncomfortable. You don't sleep. You barely have space to sit, but that's the thing you will remember the most. So many nice people around you. People even selling fish on the train or the bus.
To be honest, we did spend the whole day sleeping after catching these kinds of buses or trains, but we had enough time to do that. So it was still a fun experience.
And the longest train you took was for 14 hours?
40,
40.
40.
40
So like
hours.
two
Wow.
days.
That's like 2 days.
Yeah,
My
I think
goodness.
it was somewhere like Mumbai to Kolkata or something like that. Like
something there. Or
so,
Rajasthan to Kolkata.
but yeah, there was quite a long distance.
Wow, that's quite a journey and quite an experience. So great. Anything you would like to tell about people and about the culture in India?
Well, it's really interesting. And if you get the chance to visit India, some people are afraid or they're not confident. I really suggest that people go before it gets more developed and the culture is kind of changed a little as happens with most countries nowadays. Um, yeah, it's a really colorful culture to see and experience. So definitely go for it.
Yeah, like even the culture wise, it's not same everywhere. So if you'll go to South, it's little different. If you'll go to cities, if you'll come to places like Delhi, it's different, like the major cities. And if you'll go to village areas or, some places which are in the outskirts, it is different. I mean, culture and people and everybody. Did you experience that? Did you experience that change?
Yeah, definitely. Like in Goa, there's all the beaches and the parties, and then you go to a place like, I don't know, Mumbai. It's totally
It's
different.
crazy. No, it's different languages. The food even changes a bit, so it's like going to a new country from one state to the other.
Within a country you find culture difference and the food is different and
Exactly.
people are different. Like in Goa, it's so open, you nobody cares literally in Goa. You just go anywhere, do whatever. And when you go visit another place, then people might be uh, looking at you with different eyes. I mean, So yeah, that's lovely. So what are your plans to visit? I mean, after the pandemic, where are you planning to travel apart from Asia?
Mm,
Probably in the near future, we will start with Europe again. So like the nearby places. But we
safer.
also really wanted to go to Gambia in Africa. We were planning it for February, but we had to cancel. So now it's like up there with the places we really want to visit. So maybe Senegal and Gambia will be one of the first trips again.
All right. So, guys, would you like to give any tips to people who are planning their backpacking for the first time, and especially Asia, because you have experienced it yourself, so you guys can help other people, whoever is planning their trip and probably backpacking. So, what all things you think should be kept in mind while backpacking to Asia? Or India for say, and how should they plan their itinerary? How can they make most out of it? Any tips?
Um,
So the best tip I would say is travel slow as much as you can. So if you have 1 week and you want to visit all of India, it's crazy. But if you have just 1 week and you can stay in one place and talk to the locals, stay with them, try their food, it's much better that you take it slow and really understand about the culture than try to visit everywhere, just take a photo and go. So for me, that's the best tip I would say. Take it slow and enjoy whatever comes without planning too much and without too much hassle.
and for me, if you really want to experience the cultures, mix with people, eat from like eat street food. Some people are really afraid that they'll get sick from it. We were always eating street food and we're always fine. Um,
Yeah, so
so
do whatever the local people are doing, I would say. It saves you money and you enjoy it much more and you meet the people. So
And another thing, don't take a big backpack and a lot of stuff. The lighter you travel, the more efficient and comfortable you will be.
Right. That's quite a learning. Travel slow, guys, and don't have plans for long run. Don't backpack a lot. So make it light, and because you can of course buy things while you're traveling, and it's not that expensive also. Like we carry a lot of stuff thinking that we will save money, but that's how it doesn't work. We find a lot of cheap things also while traveling, and we can always buy stuff, be it
Okay.
clothes or whatever. I mean, apart from the essential things. So, what all things you have packed? Like, if I would say a list of things that should be there in your backpack.
there's not too many essentials, I would say. So apart from, of course, passport and the usual stuff and some personal stuff, you don't need much. So I had three t-shirts, two trousers, and it was enough for me. So then
Wow.
some really useful things, for example, head torch.
Yeah, and we had a small rope and some pegs because we were washing clothes with our hands, so we used to like put them to dry in our room. Some mosquito repellent because we're not used to having any dangerous mosquitoes back home, but in most places in Asia there
Yeah.
are. So it's an essential as well.
But yeah, that's basically it. So there's not too much to worry about. And then, as you said, you can find everything along the way. So if you forgot
Yeah.
the medicine or whatever, you can always find somewhere in Asia. So don't worry too much.
Wow, and you literally carried three t-shirts and one trousers for 15 months.
And he
Wow.
looked some of them.
Sometimes I would forget them in the guest house or wherever we were staying. So then I had to buy a new one.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, you guys are chilled out about your stuff. I mean, oh, that's okay. I forgot the t-shirt. I'm gonna buy a new one here.
Yeah,
And
so when you don't take expensive stuff, you don't really worry. Like my t-shirts was old anyway and whatever. Yeah, I lost it, but maybe I would have thrown it away after a year. So
in that way, you get to wear clothes what locals are wearing. I mean, different from your culture, so you get to have different kind of clothes as well. Like I have seen, like I think Shaun was wearing some trousers which were like Indian pants. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not very comfortable, and sometimes you have to be respectful for the culture of the place you're visiting. So here we're used to wearing shorts and dresses, but in some places you need to like try to follow their rules. So yeah, we were wearing some of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Swapnil is asking something. Hi, Swapnil. So this is Shaun and Sarah. So
Hi.
they backpacked to India and Asia, and they've been to 15, 16 countries. They are from Malta. So Malta is a country close to Italy. It is a very beautiful small country, and they are from there. So yeah, people
Good
don't know about
introduction.
Malta,
Good.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will make it famous, and world will know about Malta, and more people will visit it. So if I'm gonna come to Malta, I haven't been there myself. So if I'm gonna plan my trip to Malta, what all places you would suggest me to visit? Like, I should definitely go to this place. I should definitely try out this food at this cafe, or any recommendations.
So in summer, definitely the beaches. We have a lot of them. Um, and we have another island. It's called Gozo.
Hmm.
Like a 15-minute ferry ride from Malta, and we really love it for hiking and camping and adventure stuff there. So it would be
Then,
a really
yeah.
good place.
And then there's a lot of these very traditional villages kind of, which I really enjoy. So they have like pubs that are very old, and there's you can just walk around and really enjoy watching the life, especially in Gozo, which is like less developed than Malta. So it's a quiet life, and it's really nice there.
And what kind of food you would suggest? I mean, what is popular there, and what would you like people coming there should definitely try?
Hmm.
So we have some weird people will judge us for it. Rabbit, for example. So we eat rabbit, horse, snails. Those are like
Oh,
the unusual things. Then, as you said, we have a lot of Italian influence
Yeah.
and British. So we have good pies, pasta,
Pizza as
pizza.
well.
So those are really good as well.
all right. So for people, for meat lovers, there are different things to try, and I'm sure they will love to try out different like snakes, what all you said, and rabbit and horse, which is
Yeah.
not very popular here. And I'm sure people who love meat will try this out. And otherwise, we have vegetarian options in pizza and pasta, which is truly Italian. Um, Lovely. So, how was your family's reaction when you told them that you are planning? Was it a gap year, first of all?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah,
technically.
something like that, because we quit our jobs and everything. So, and yeah, the family reaction wasn't, they weren't too happy at first, of course, because they said, like, you're crazy, you're quitting your job, you're going to dangerous places. But then, as
As
time
time
went
went by,
by,
it got better, and they were happy
they
to see that.
understood
Yeah.
what we were doing, kind of, and they were happy for us.
Someone is asking you guys a question. Did they get stuck in terrible traffic while here in India or not? Like a serious 2 hours traffic?
It
Yeah, we did.
was quite normal, yes.
Yeah, it's quite normal here. They did a 40 hours long train journey, which which is quite unusual. And then traffic is nothing for you guys, I'm sure. That's amazing. So anything else you would like to share from your journey? Anything from your memory you would like to tell people?
If I had to close, like, give a closing message to everyone, just don't worry too much about things and planning and everything. Just if you really want to do it, just do it and just say, okay, I don't need to travel the whole world. I don't need to do everything, but just find the place you want to visit, enjoy it to the full, and then
See
don't
what's
worry
next.
too much and see what's next. But don't let the money stop you. We did it on a very low budget, so if you really want to do it, you don't need to be rich to travel. You just need to save money from the useless things and maybe fancy clothes and new mobile phone and everything, and instead invest your money in and memories that you will remember.
Yeah, and for people who are maybe alone and don't have a partner or friends to travel with, there are many opportunities like hostels and a lot of meetups and stuff like that to meet other people. So there's always opportunities for everyone.
Right. That's lovely. That's a lovely message for everybody, for couples and for solo travelers as well. So guys, don't worry. When if they can travel, you too can. So yeah, take it ahead. It's a journey. What is he saying?
Yes.
Traveling
Some people
really
tell
is
me that I look like a
magic.
footballer from Real Madrid.
It's not the first time they told him that.
Wow, that's quite a compliment. So, how was your family's experience when you told them? I mean, what was their reaction when you told them that you're going for such a long, like you were not sure about the duration yourself, and you were going on a trip? Were they okay? Were they scared, or were they worried about you guys? That
Yeah, as we said in the beginning, they were and they were a bit shocked, but then it was okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think you guys have to go somewhere, and that was a lovely session. It was nice knowing from you guys and your journey, and thank you for telling people what you have and sharing your experience. And happy traveling, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hopefully, we'll see you again sometime.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll definitely gonna catch up once you're coming back to India for your
Yeah.
trip.
See
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.